Hello, I'm Garner Mayor Ronnie Williams. We're here today for another episode of the show that we call Great People in Garner. With us today is Jeremy Woodard. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
You're a Garner boy, but you're actually visiting us because you've moved to New York. Why don't you start by telling us what brings you back to the area?
Well, I come back to do a little show called Altar Boys down at the North
I've heard tell of it.
Yeah. You gonna come check it out?
Yeah. Well, if I have time.
That's good. But yeah, so that's, I mean, it's nice to come back for work, but I also try to come back as much as I can to visit the family and stuff like that.
And they appreciate it.
Oh yeah, Mom appreciates that a lot.
So you're back here for an official family visit?
Yes, that's what I call it, a vacation of some sorts with a little bit of work in there.
Now you've become a very successful Broadway performer. How did you get your start on Broadway, and how long have you been working on shows?
Oh man, I got my start with, funny thing was, I used to always say that if I could do a Broadway show for just one night, that would be enough for me, and that's exactly what happened on my first job. My first job was a show called Glory Days, and we closed the day after we opened, and that's kind of where it all started for me. Been doing shows up there since about 2005. And Rock of Ages was one
That's my next question.
That's your next question. Well, because the funny thing is that one's been running for so long, you know. You don't.
And you had a starring role?
I did. I didn't start that way, but I worked my way up somehow. I fooled everybody to give me a starring role on the show.
Okay, the role of Stacey Jacks is demanding. Vocally, how are you able to perform that same role night after night? Perseverance.
You stop acting like you're 18 years old. That's how you do it. It's a lifestyle change in the fact that you got to take care of yourself. Lots of water, lots of vocal rest whenever you can, and you know, no staying out late anymore. Getting too old for that.
Oh, that's good, I guess. What's been the most demanding role that you've ever played?
So far, I have to say it is the Stacey Jacks role. This show down here we're doing is demanding in its own way, as far as the cast is there's 5 guys, so there's no intermission. So we're out there the whole time dancing and singing nonstop, so you don't really get a break. So it's challenging in the fact that you can't really hide. Usually you have casts anywhere from 18 to 30 people. There's only 5 of us this time, so we're exposed the whole time and you don't get a break. But Stacey Jacks is probably the most demanding I've had, especially vocally so far.
You've had some acting experience, even some TV, I understand. Tell us about that.
I got to do an episode of The Big C with Laura Linney, who actually has North Carolina ties. Her dad was a playwright and was good friends with John Sharon, who runs the East Carolina University Theater Department. So when she found out I was from North Carolina, she got real excited. That was pretty nice. And I got to do a quick episode of Smash before they canceled that recently, and you know, that's it. Now you just try for the next one.
You graduated from ECU School of Theater and Dance. How did that prepare you to embark on what you've been through?
The thing that I think a school like East Carolina, as opposed to a conservatory type school, East Carolina trains you and gets you ready for the business, or what it's like to live in New York and do this career-wise, as opposed to just training you how to be a superstar per se. So the thing that I took away most from that school was how to survive in the times that you may not have the job that you want at any given point, and I think they're great at that.
Your experiences growing up in Garner, tell us about that. What do you remember best about that?
The first thing that pops in my mind is was walking over here. This Avery Street gym I grew up playing basketball. Garner Optimist basketball.
Everybody else did too.
Oh, yeah, man. And you know, that's for some reason I was such a sports nut, and I always wanted to be an athlete. Clearly, that was not my path, but it's those Saturday basketball games, Garner Optimist basketball games. That's what I miss the most.
How did Garner help mold you to what you are today? The experiences, the friends, the events.
All of that, and more so, the most important thing to me is the friends aspect. I'm still very close with my oldest friends that I've had here, and even as years go by, when you run into folks that you hadn't seen in 10, 12 years, even if you weren't the best of friends with them in high school, when you see each other now, it's like there's still a whole lot of love there. So the friends and family aspect of this town is something that will stick with me forever. Probably when I move back down here one day.
Okay, performing artists such as Scotty McCreery and Arlie Honeycutt, you're now part of that special group. How has Garner been able to produce this talent?
You know, we were just talking about that out there, and I think the main thing is Garner not realizing until I got older what a great arts program the high school had while we were there during my time there, and I assume it's still just as good. But Garner never gave up on the arts. You know, I know with cuts, things that get cut as far as budgets and stuff go all around the country. I'm really proud that they hung on and have done so much with, you know, even turning this place into that theater. That's amazing. So that's they never gave up on that, and that's, you know, very, very, very proud of that.
Okay, look into the future, 5 or 10 years from now.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself? Acting, singing?
You know, I'm at that point now where I'm not so sure. I'm very happy with what I'm doing, and if it continues, that's great. But there's also a side of me that would love to come back down here one day and run. I used to joke that I wanted to run North Carolina Theater when Wally was.
I thought you were going to say run for mayor.
No.
Run.
Run? No, not yet. But yeah, for me, it's I'm 50-50. I do love the performing aspect, but I very much love the business aspect of it as well. And the older I get, the more that's a little bit more appealing to me as time goes on.
How do you think we have been able to accomplish what we are today as a community? And everybody talks about the small town atmosphere.
Yeah.
Do you feel that coming back, intermingling?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you miss that, like living in a big city. And I love New York as well, and I love the fast pace, and you know, you got to get things done. But when I come back down here, I'm like, it's like you get to breathe for a second. Like, I just love driving my car around town. I miss that.
Okay, the culture of New York, talk about that. It's a heck of a lot different.
It's a heck of a lot different. It's good, and you know, I guess I can have the tendency to maybe be lazy sometimes. So the thing about New York is it doesn't allow you the time to get lazy. You got to get off your butt and get it done. But living somewhere like New York and doing theater, I think has helped me grow as a human being more than anything I've probably ever done in my entire life, as far as the melting pot of people that you get to work with and the things that you learn from others. So
No regrets.
No regrets whatsoever. Except maybe not working on my jump shot as much as I wanted to when I was younger.
You'll find time for that. Minnie Pearl or Loretta Lynn, I can't ever remember. Yeah. One of them said, you've done us proud, and I think you have.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me.
Okay, looking back on your growing up and your life as it is today, when did you decide you wanted to be a performer, and why?
Oof.
Good money.
Good money. Not the money. It would probably have to be, I was definitely in high school, and Mr. Gillum and the school was doing a production of Into the Woods. And I think I had signed up to audition for it, and then I think me and Mr. Gillum had like a little argument about something, so I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do it, just to get back at him. And then I came and saw it, and you know, it's one of the best sets that I've ever seen at that high school, and I was just blown away by the performance. And then I went backstage afterwards, and all of my friends were having such a good time. I was like, man, I screwed up, I missed out. And I think that's when I caught what they refer to as the bug. Why? I don't know. And for me, it was never, I didn't get into this because I wanted to be famous or anything like that. I just wanted to work and do what I enjoyed doing. Because at that time, you know, am I good at it? I have no idea, and I still don't know, actually. So I'm just like, I just kind of roll with the punches as far as it goes, and it's kind of worked out so far. So I don't think too much about it, and just kind of keep moving forward with it.
Okay, your downtime, what do you do to relax?
I sleep. To relax, I come back here and stay at my mom's house for as long as I can.
Okay. Little Bird told me that your image is on buses in New York. Is that factual? Tell us about that. That's bound to be interesting.
It is. It was interesting. And well, what makes it the most interesting is that they never tell you that they take these photos and they never tell you what they're going to do with them. And they don't call and warn you. So you wake up and you want to get a cup of coffee, and there's a bus parked next to the Starbucks.
There you are.
And yeah, that's exactly what happened. I think I was actually texting on my phone, and I kind of did it's a ginormous picture. It's, to me, it just makes me laugh. I'm appreciative, but I get embarrassed when I see stuff like that. But it's just, yeah, one day you're hitting the pavement trying to get a job, and the next day you're plastered on the side of a bus, and then it's a little it's weird.
There's probably a lot of young people looking at you. What advice would you give them about getting or wanting to get into show business?
I mean, I would tell them to be prepared to have to work harder than they think they're going to have to, and definitely to have thick skin. I say that because it's great that we can sit here and talk about Rock of Ages and what a good job it ended up being, but what you don't see are the hundreds of other jobs that we didn't get before we got that one. And that's on a constant. I mean, you get obviously told no 10 times more than you get told yes. But just to make sure they love it, because if it's something you're doing just to, maybe try to be a celebrity in some form or whatnot, then it's gonna be quite the rude awakening. If you don't love it, I would suggest maybe going after something else. And the main thing I always tell them, and sometimes I go back and talk to the classes at ECU, and just at least try it. If it's something you love to do, at least try it. You may go to New York and have to wait tables for a little while, but if you just if you sit around in Greenville and wait tables there, you're never going to know. So you at least got to give it the effort.
Something about Broadway the average citizen may not know, or can you tell us all these secrets?
What you may not know? Oh, let me see. What's something about Broadway that you guys don't know?
It's big money, right?
No. That's the thing. It's big money for big names, but for the rest of us, as far as the listing expense, when you're mounting a show, the thing that costs the least to put those shows up are the actors. We are the bottom of all that process. So maybe they don't know that. I guess the work schedule, it's 8 shows a week. We get 1 day off. Usually it's generally Mondays that we get off, but you do the weekends for normal people that have normal jobs are their time to relax, and the weekends are our busiest times. We have 2 shows, on Saturdays and Sundays, so we miss a lot of the football games and all the fun stuff. And then during the week, it's a little bit easier for us when it's harder for, 9-to-5ers.
You play a character that is not you. How do you stay interested in that? That's a loaded question.
It is. It's easy at first when you're first getting started. Then, again, I keep referencing Rock of Ages because it's been running for so long, and that was a good test as far as there are days where you come in and it does feel like a job. You do have to figure out a way to get yourself, you have an audience of 600 people that haven't seen it yet, and you've done it 1,000 times. I don't know if there's necessarily any tricks to make it interesting for yourself every night. I think there's a lot of elements like the reactions from the audience are different, or another actor does something a little bit different than they normally do, so it kind of triggers you to do, and so it's the unexpectedness, I think, that helps keep it fresh. And you do get burnt out. There are times where you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can keep doing this, but you got to push through. It's a job. It's fun, but it's a job nonetheless.
You mentioned the other actors. Tell me about the camaraderie, the intermingling, and the socializing with them.
Yeah.
Or can you tell us?
Oh, absolutely. Someone gave me a bit of advice when I was getting ready to move to New York, and it sounds very elementary, but they said you have to play well in the sandbox, because you do spend every day of your life with these people, and they become part of your family. Some of the closest friends I have now were former castmates and stuff like that. And you're together all the time. You go through show experiences as well as personal experiences with each other. And it does matter that we all try to be good people, but it's you want to work with nice, friendly people, just like you guys would want to work with nice, friendly people, and that your attitude and your reputation matters as far as that goes. Definitely a big part of it.
In the showbiz industry, who do you want to be like?
Right off the top of my head, I like the Breaking Bad. The Breaking Bad show. Aaron Paul. I look up to Aaron Paul a lot. Johnny Depp I look up to a lot. And Gary Oldman. Do you know Gary Oldman? Exactly. That's why I like it. Because these guys. Aside from Johnny Depp and maybe Aaron Paul now, these are the guys that are able. They're like chameleons. They're able to do so much and have their anonymity and have their normal lives and fly right under the radar per se. I've already done more than I ever expected I would be able to do, so I'm pretty happy.
you're probably constantly doing auditions. Is that a fair statement?
All the time, every day.
What have you thought about in terms of television or the movie industry? Are you looking at that? Have you auditioned?
I do quite a bit. You know, Los Angeles is the mecca for the TV film world, but New York has definitely grown and continues to grow as far as that goes. They shoot a lot there now. They've built studios and added more studios, but that's something I want to do a whole lot more of. The money's a whole lot better, I'll tell you that. But there's aspects of it that are fun. I enjoy the TV stuff because I guess it feels a bit more real as opposed to sometimes you have to be on stage and you gotta be big and project. There's good and bad for both, but I definitely want to do more TV film stuff than I have so far.
Okay, Miss Saigon and Hairspray. You've been a part of that.
I have.
Talk about it.
Those were 2 tours, so they were national tours. So we traveled all around. I always wanted to travel, and doing a job like that on someone else's paying you to go around the world was pretty awesome. So that was something I was very excited about. Tour life is hard. I mean, it's a different city every week, so you're living out of a suitcase. But I guess the thing that it taught me was that I don't need a whole lot. I could survive out of a suitcase if I had to. So that was pretty good. No, they were great jobs. I got to see all of the United States, and we went to Canada for a little bit too. But Hairspray was good. Miss Saigon was great too, but Hairspray was a lot of fun. Miss Saigon was what they call a non-union tour. That was the first job I had out of New York when I got up there. And I did that for about 2 years. And then actually came back to North Carolina Theater and did a job that got me my equity card, which was the union for the actors. And then I left to do Hairspray for a couple of years. It was great. I don't know if I want to do it anymore. It's something to do, I think, when you're young to kind of...
Some of the shows on Broadway go away, so to speak, and then years later they come back.
They do.
Why? Public demand?
I don't know. I don't know why they pick and choose which revival. They call those revivals. Which revivals they decide to do at any given point. Sometimes I'm like, why are they doing that? I don't think there's any particular rhyme or reason. I guess it's always all about the money. So if someone decides they want to revive something, then they're able to get the money that they need. That's all you need. Once you get the money, it goes. If you don't have the money, it's not going to happen.
I noticed Tom Hanks has been in the recent something on Broadway. Why does he step away from the movie and TV side to do Broadway? Must be a personal thing.
It must be a personal thing. I mean, I guess there is, as far as TV film stuff can be so technical, meaning that you have to stand a certain way or do a certain thing for the camera. And I guess with
You can improvise.
yeah, and I guess with theater, the live aspect, which is something I've always liked, is that with theater you have to get it right every night, or at least try to. And when we mess up, everybody sees it, so everybody doesn't always get to see your best take, I guess, is the thing about live theater that I like a lot. But maybe that's something that those guys want to do too.
Okay, let's assume you're in a cafe in New York. You're with a group of your friends and Garner comes to the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
What do you tell them? I grew up there, I love it.
Those are the first 2 things I say, but before I can even get that out, usually they jump on me about Scotty, the Scotty McGreer. They're like, you know Scotty? And I'm like, no, the funny thing is I haven't met Scotty yet, and I want to. But his mother was one of my teachers in middle school, Judy. She was tough. She was, at the time, I'm like, why is she so hard? But then you get older and you're like, well, I probably needed that because I was probably a little pest to her. But she was, Judy, I haven't met Scotty yet, though. We got to make that happen.
Well, we will. If you're here and he's here.
No, I always say good things, obviously, because with the help of folks like Scotty and those guys giving us good attention. I mean, there are a lot of talented folks down here, and I'm very happy to see it progressing. Do
you understand the concept of an all-America city? Well, what does that mean to you being from Garner?
And I heard we just won that. Am I not?
You're exactly right.
Yeah, Neil Paget told me I was going to go and help them with the presentation, but I guess something happened where they couldn't take me, so I didn't get to go to Denver. But I didn't know we won until 2 nights ago. Neil stopped by to see the show and told me that we had won the thing. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? I get a little bit of the concept, but that's a big deal. There was was it 100 cities and they narrow it to 20, and then the 20 go
You're right on spot on.
I love it. That's amazing.
It speaks well for Garner.
It does. You gonna put it on the sign, the front sign?
We may put you on the front sign. I don't know.
You have to put me. I remember the football thing was there for a long time from the 80s. I remember that being there. 87, that's right.
Is there anything you would like to add? Any comments, closing comments? And I'll go and say, I appreciate you being with us, taking the time. I know you're busy.
That's all I was going to say. I appreciate you guys having me over here, and thanks for including me in a group like Scotty. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.